My dog's got a bowl of calls. He does strange stuff.
Yeah, I put it in the freezer. And intending to put it in for about a half hour. But it actually was there for about an hour and a half. So
Well, it'll stay cold for you.
yeah. Should be just about right when I'm done talking. Hello, Lona. How are you?
Your hair's got just about, not quite as good, but perfect. Anything else? We just did fun sketching. Yeah. $5. Yes.
Okay. Okay, hi everybody. We're going to get going. Keep eating, keep getting food. Just, try and listen a little bit while you're doing what you're doing. There's fundraising going on in the back. I'll talk about that in a bit. If you brought in a gift exchange item, a little 5x7 or smaller, small original painting or original painted card that's wrapped, put that on the back table with the green cloth. If you brought paintings in for Lester to critique, bring those up here to the front, put them on the edge of the table up front. All right, there's plenty of food in the back, so please dish up and eat and go back and get more during the meeting. This is not a formal meeting, so don't worry about getting up and doing what you need to do while we're up here, okay? Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight on this cold, cold, cold night. We're going to start out with the door prize. So, Julie Ickes.
Yes.
Does everybody have a red ticket, a door prize ticket, a red ticket? If you raise your hand if you do not have a red ticket. Okay. Red ticket like this. Everybody should have one red ticket that you got when you came in, or if you don't, keep your hand in the air until you get one. We're going to do some door prizes, okay? While Julie's bringing those tickets around, I'm going to talk about your gift exchange like I mentioned. We are, if you brought in a small original painting for gift exchange, put it on the back table with the green cloth. And stay tuned in a little bit. We'll send everybody to that back table, and Linda will give you your exchange, a different one than what you brought in. And it's a little white elephant. Okay, how many people still need tickets? Is it 1, 2? Did you get yours up here? Did you get a ticket? Red ticket? If you need a red ticket, keep your hand in the air until you get one. We've got a bunch of swag, and we've got some really cool door prizes as well. And we'll be giving away these poinsettias as well. So there's lots for everybody. I think just about everybody will go home with something. Okay. All right. Does everybody have a ticket? All right. So let's draw out our first number.
I have my friend Diane draw.
All right, friend Diane is drawing.
No, if I have one. I don't have one.
I didn't bring my hearing aids, so I can't hear a thing.
I wore mine and I can't hear anything.
let's draw another one. Have this gentleman in the front draw one too. We'll do two things. Okay, the first ticket is, they're all starting with 270. The last three numbers are 928. 928. Who has 928? All right. Woo! All right. What?
I didn't get a ticket. Never win anything.
928. All right. Well, this was. You have a choice. Do you have a T-shirt or a poster? Oh, hey! It's free stuff.
I'll put it back in the pool.
All right. That was your ticket, though.
I know.
You might want to give it to somebody else.
All right.
T-shirt or poster? It's
Inside a t-shirt.
XL.
Okay, we'll take it.
All right. You don't want my swag?
I wanted paper.
Oh, I don't have paper, but I've got some good stuff. Okay. 974 is the second ticket. 974. 270974. Oh, hold on a second. That's not right. Did you give me a second one? 974. Yeah, I gave you one. I thought you did, but I had that sitting there. 974 is not correct.
All right.
I think it got put back in the basket.
All right, we can draw another one.
Whose is this one? Maybe this one that got crumpled up. Well, I'll keep it crumpled up. Okay. All right, 961. 270961. Red ticket, 270961. Anyone? 961. Bueller? 961. I know you're all here. Nobody's left yet. 961. All right. 930. Okay, all back there. Okay, here. All right, posters. Okay, I'm going to get to some business. We'll come back. We'll come back to, we've got lots of prizes. All right, if you don't have a red ticket, I saw some people who just came in. If you don't have a red ticket, raise your hand. Those of you who has picked up your directory for this year, your membership directory, has everyone picked it up? If you don't have one, raise your hand. If you don't have your membership directory. Okay, Al, back there in the back, see him in the blue shirt? He has your directories. Please pick it up from him. He'll check your name off the list. He's got everybody's membership directory for this year. He also has our business cards, our UWS business cards. Pick one of those up or a couple of them if you'd like. Those are just nice. They have little paintings from our fall and spring exhibitions from different artists that were in the shows. They have information about our meetings on the back, and they are also what you will show to our merchant partners if you want to get discounts from our merchant partners. The list of merchant partners is on our website and in our newsletter, and we are adding to that list all the time, so check it out. I'm going to skip that. Coming up, the UWS 2-star/signature member exhibition. So for those members who have achieved 2-star status or signature status in UWS, and it takes some work to do those things, they're good goals to work for. If you've achieved 2-star or signature status, there is an exhibition for 2-star or signature members every other year. So 2017 is our exhibition year. We had a little snafu with our venue. So the exhibition is actually taking place January 5th through 27th at Eccles Community Arts Center in Ogden. But the registration is open now. So if you are a 2-star or signature member, you are automatically in the show. Do you understand? I want to make sure you understand that. You're automatically accepted to the show. It's not juried if you're a 2-star signature member. You just need to register your paintings. And for this exhibition, because it's a big venue, you can do 2 paintings. So you double your chances of winning an award. All you got to do is put the paintings in.
Good awards.
And they're good awards. So registration is now open. It is open until December 28th at 8 p.m. However,
Somebody already picked up your membership.
what? However, there is an early drop-off option on December 15th. So if you don't want to drive to Ogden to drop your paintings off, get registered before December 15th and take your paintings either to Roxanne Pfister's home in Logan or the Visual Arts Institute in Sugar House in Salt Lake City. The details and the addresses of these places are on the registration prospectus. So take advantage of that December 15th early drop-off. I'm going to, because I don't want to have to drive up to Ogden to drop mine off. Otherwise, if you miss that deadline and you still want to get your paintings in, you can drop them off on the 29th at Eccles. So register. You're automatically in the show.
Could they be acrylic?
Acrylic? Yes. Any water media. Any water media. The prospectus, click the link for the prospectus. It'll give you the details of sizing and things like that. Any water media. The only restriction is that they cannot have already been exhibited in a UWS show. You might have submitted and been denied, then you can put that in. You can put in a painting that was in Western Fed, but if it's already been exhibited in a UWS show, then no. Otherwise, any water media, and it's great. Okay, we're gonna move on. The Spring Open exhibition is coming. Time to start painting now, because it's going to sneak up on you before you know it. So start your paintings now. The registration will be coming soon, probably around the first part of February. And check the website and our newsletter for more details, but start painting now. Do 3 paintings. Get them ready. If you have questions on any of the exhibitions, you can talk to Barbara Kidd. She's over here in the black, waving to you. She knows all. She is the exhibition guru. Okay, are we ready for more prizes? Do you all have your red tickets now? Okay, let's have 2 more tickets.
Okay.
Just call the numbers out.
923.
923. 270-923.
923.
Who's at the back? Who's got 923? Art.
I lied.
Oh,
923.
trying to snake somebody's prize.
Going. I want that instead of the shirt.
You don't get to choose. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit. That's how it works around here.
I did. It's just a wrong pocket.
923. Okay, painting portraits for
Hey,
art.
perfect.
All right, and then
It's
just.
art, not Al, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Al? Did I say art? Art. It's art, not Al. I'm sorry. Okay, and the next ticket.
One more.
One more.
The lucky winner is 955.
955. Yay! It's a 3D palette. So, come on up, 955.
I wanted that.
No! You get what you get! Alright, thank you. Yeah, I'll take it. Alright, reminder, we get so much information, and it comes to you in so many ways. We get a monthly e-blast, and if you want to have any of your art news, if you have an exhibition or anything like that coming up, send that information to Phil Harrison for the monthly FYI e-blast. You can find his email on our newsletter board list. And also, if you want to get information into the newsletter, it needs to go to Mary Pusey by the 16th of this month to be in the January-February newsletter. So if you've got an exhibition coming up, let her know about it. We'll put it in the member news. If you have questions about that, you can email me, you can email or call. You can email or call Mary or Phil, and we can direct you to the right place to put your information. The Illustrated Journaling Group is led by Bess Ann Swanson. We moved the location, and they were meeting up here on the stage at 6:30. Now they're downstairs at 6:30. So if you need wheelchair access to attend the group, there's a ramp that goes around the building, and you can enter downstairs to get to it. She is a stickler for being on time, though, so you'll turn into a pumpkin if you're not there at 6:30. Okay, December Paint Out's coming up December 9th. That is this Saturday at the Hosta House. 10 a.m., that's at 4000 Jupiter Drive. It's a great way to get to know some other artists in our group. It'll be cold, maybe, but it'll be fun. And then you go to lunch afterwards. Blaine and Nina are the Paint Out people. Wave. Blaine and Nina. Okay. And so if you have questions about Paint Outs, talk to Blaine and Nina. All right. Just in, the 2017 Christmas art sale and painting demonstrations from the Midway Art Association. There are several of our members who are also members of Midway Art Association. This is Friday, December 8th and Saturday, December 9th at the Midway Community Center. 11 to 6 on Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday. I will leave this announcement up here, so if you're interested in it, you can come look at the details. All right. January, we have mini workshop with Ian Ramsey, and it's full. So why am I telling you? Because you've got to sign up if you want to take the workshops. So it's full, but if you want to be on the waiting list, Sandy Sleeper does have a waiting list. Sandy is at the back, waving, white shirt. She can put your name on the waiting list if you're interested. Coming up in March, I told you about Ian's, and it filled up super fast because Christy is also going to fill up super fast. So registration will be opening soon, late January, early February, probably after Ian's workshop is over. And contact Sandy Sleeper again in the back there if you are interested in the workshop. This one will also fill up fast. Our mini workshops are only around $125 for 2 days. They're a great value, they're great instruction, and you're not totally worn out by the end of it, which you are at the end of the week-long ones. So be ready for it. And when you see that email for registration being open, I would jump on it right away so you don't miss out. And our spring 2018 workshop will be opening soon as well. So just giving you a heads up on that. When you see that email for Jeannie McGuire, she is a national instructor who's coming in to jury and judge our spring exhibition. She will be conducting a week-long workshop here the first week of May, well, the second week of May. And registration will be opening soon for that as well. There will also be a 2-day workshop in Logan area with Jeannie on the weekend previous to this. So you'll learn more about that from Ken Baker. All right, I need 3 more tickets. Let's draw them quick. $957. 270-957. Woo! This is Rethinking Acrylic for you. These are donated off of my bookshelf. And I'll take your ticket, not the others. All right? And then one more, 2 more.
How are you? I forgot my hearing aids. I can't understand anything.
We've got 949.
949. All right. we have for you a little goodie bag from American Journey and a t-shirt.
All right. Thank you very much.
Hey, woo! And one more.
Okay. Winning ticket is 981.
981. 270981. Over here. Green shirt over here. Oh, Shreya. All right. For Shreya is a copy of Carl Purcell's book, Painting with Your Artist Brain, also off of my shelf. Woo. There you go. All right. Yay! Okay. Tonight, we've got so much stuff going on. Those of you who've probably seen some of this in the back, we're fundraising for the Mary Straight Scholarship Fund. Every year, we give out 2 scholarships to high school students who have entered the Springville High School Art Show. One from Cache Valley and one from wherever else in the state. And we raise money for this all year long so that we have we give $400 to each of these students, plus a little swag bag of stuff for art supplies to get them started in their college experience. So tonight we have in the back, there are some greeting cards that were donated by Becky Hardvixen. Those are just for sale, and all the money goes to the scholarship fund. So thank you, Becky, for donating. And yes, woohoo! Woo! Huzzah! Also, Tom was waving, and yes, now he's waving again. Tom has mystery boxes. There are 4 of them, mystery boxes. They are full of art goodies. Every box is worth a minimum of $20 to $30, maybe more. I put them together, so I kind of know what's in them, but I don't remember which has which. So they're all good stuff, and it's for a very good cause. $1 per ticket, or 6 tickets for $5. You write your name and phone number on the back of the ticket, drop it into the container of the box you're interested in winning, and stay tuned. At the end of the night, we'll call out the winners. There's also a box of miscellaneous stuff there, miscellaneous used items that you might find interesting, and just make an offer to Tom. A couple dollars, whatever. And what? You think he's going to take them? And what do you? And you have a couple of easels that were won at the auction. Have they been picked up? Who are they for?
Well, one was for Mary, the other was for Lori Personal, Lori Gallagher.
Okay, so we've got those taken out. So check out the mystery boxes, check out the greeting cards, they're beautiful. And also check out on the easels at the back, those are some of the paintings from this month's paint out with that Blaine and Nina put together. So that's some of the fun stuff that we do. All right, let's do 2 more tickets. $919. Woohoo! You get posters and a UWS bag. All right. All right. We have one great big door prize drawing at the end, so the lucky winner is going to be happy with that. Okay.
918.
918. Right next to us. Oh, that's Cindy. All right, I'm here. I'm here. Okay, we have another American Journey goodie bag, and we have a nice molding for framing. Okay, excellent. All right, we're almost done with all the announcements. Kent Baker from Utah Watercolor Society Cache Valley chapter, who drives down here every month from Logan for our meeting, even in the winter. He's got some announcements for you.
Okay. On December 8th, Friday, we are having the award ceremony for the winter show. Mike? Okay, on December 8th at 6:30, we're going to have the award ceremony for the winter show. It'll be at the Thatcher Mansion on 35 West, 100 South up in Logan. And at that time, we will pass out the awards. So you can come up and see if you put in a painting whether you won. On December 12th, we'll be holding our monthly meeting. It'll be like what we have here. We have a potluck. We'll be having a critique from Lester at 6:30, I think. Yeah, okay, good. And then at 7 we'll start our potluck. We'll also be doing other things to help with our scholarship fund, raffling and selling off things. On January 9th, we will be having, January 9th, we're going to be having Jeannie Millicum doing our demonstration for our monthly meeting. And on January 13th, we're going to have a workshop, a one-day workshop in the Logan Library with Cheryl Gordon doing silk paintings on scarves. So if you want to learn how to do that, it's really a dramatic way to exhibit colors on fabric. Okay, so that's it.
All right, thank you. I don't know why we lost our picture, I'm sorry. And now it's on the double screen, so I'm not going to waste time messing with it. Are there any other announcements that anybody needed to make? Oh, Mara.
So we brought back all the Arts in the Park paintings that we didn't sell everything after the event. So those are lined up. There's not as many as they were, so I hope they went home to the right people. Save the date. It's next year. It'll be the same weekend, the same week we always use, and that's the week after Memorial Day. I believe that's the 29th or 30th of May through the 3rd of June. So we go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We always have the event, the sale and auction and show on Saturday. Right there at the Emporium. We're looking for a marketing person to be on the committee this year. If anybody's interested, give me a call.
All right. And also Mara, who has been doing so many different things for us in the background. She needs somebody who's willing to work with her this year on Arts in the Park to kind of learn the coordination of it so she can pass those duties along. She's been doing it for several years and she works very hard. So we're trying to take 5 years. So, and we're trying to, and she's done scholarship for several years, and she's done archives for several years, and she's done a couple other things. So
Past president.
she's a past president. We have worked her to death. So we're trying to move some of that off her plate so that she doesn't fall over and stop coming. So if those of you who participate in Arts in the Park, talk to Mara about what's involved, and if you've benefited from being a participant, you will benefit from being a volunteer and seeing how it runs. And if we can get 2 or 3 people, they might be able to do the job with Mara. So many hands make light work. So please talk to Mara if you're interested. Yes.
What does marketing job entail?
Mara can explain it to you. Yeah, talk to her. She'll have the details for it. Okay. All right, a couple more tickets.
Hey. 956.
956. 956. Woohoo! All right.
What did I read?
American Journey. Goodie bag. And hey, our picture's back. How about that?
This is an almond.
Hey, what
Yeah,
one?
yeah, next one.
929.
929.
Me.
Woo!
Oh, no, it's not. I'm sorry.
It's
I'll
me.
say it.
Oh! I can take it. Okay. 929 is a cute little polka dot pen and a UWS bag.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
And let's do one more, and then we'll do the big one in a minute.
All right, this one is. Oh wait, I need glasses. 967.
967. Woohoo! All right, and you get another American Journey goodie bag.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Okay. Gift exchange. Did everybody get your gift exchange item to the back? Those of you who are participating. Yes? Yes? No? Okay. If you didn't, you better hustle back there. Okay. Go. If you're doing the gift exchange, go ahead and head back to that background table with the green cloth. Line up. Linda will hand out your new goodie that you get to take home with you. Or Kay. Kay is going to hand them out, I guess. Are you handing them out or are you lining up? I'm so organized. Don't let me run the meetings. They're all there. Okay, you know what? Just take one. Take one that you didn't bring. Pick the package you didn't bring, and there's your exchange. Okay, thanks for that's always fun. I didn't have time to get ready for that this time. All right. We want to mention, as always, that the Utah Watercolor Society is funded in part by residents of Salt Lake County through the Zoo Arts and Parks program, the ZAP program. So your support matters. Those of you who live in Salt Lake County, thank you. Your tax matters. It makes this possible. And we're grateful for that grant money. Upcoming meetings. Tonight we have, of course, our social. We have Lester Lee doing critique. What?
Somebody left $20 at my table.
Ooh, a tip.
So, I don't know who, someone's at my table in the last 5-10 minutes. I'm not sure who it is.
Were you wanting to buy $20 of mystery box tickets, or did you leave your 20 there accidentally? Anybody missing the 20?
I think we found the owner.
All right, excellent. Okay, tonight, so we've got all this stuff going on tonight. We already know what's going on tonight. Next month, January, excuse me, January 2nd. I almost made it without having to take a drink. January 2nd, we have Al Rounds. Will be here demonstrating, talking. Is he demonstrating or is he just talking? I don't know, but he's doing something cool. So, Al, is he demonstrating or just talking? Demonstrating. Even better. So you want to be here January 2nd for that. That'll be an awesome demonstration. And in February, we've got Marianne Freesmith coming up. So tonight, we've got, besides all the fun stuff going on in the back, and please go back and help yourself to more food and treats. There's tons of it back there. I'm sure the people who brought it don't want to take it home. So eat it. Tonight, we're starting out with a critique with Lester Lee, who I'll introduce in a moment. And then we're going to follow that up with a framing discussion from Keith Brown from Master Lab. And he's also going to talk to you about prints and giclées and just cool things that you can do with your art besides the framing. So it should be informational for you. Lester we have left more time for tonight than we did last time. So, backed by very popular demand, I'm very honored and happy to introduce Lester Lee, who I have had the privilege of knowing for 31 years. So, yes, Lee for me. So, Lester was my junior high art teacher in 8th and 9th grade, and then we reconnected later on, and I just call him my friend now. And unfortunately, I just dated us both. But he is just one of the nicest people you're ever going to know in your life, and he gives the best critique sessions because there's always something good in a painting, and he's going to find it. But he's also going to let you know what you can do to maybe improve on it the next time around or rework it now. So it's just such a helpful and informative kind of session to have, and we're really grateful he was willing to drive all the way back down here from Clarkston, Utah, again, to do this for us. And then we'll follow that up, we'll have a little break between, and we'll follow that up with Heath from Master Lab. And I think Crystal has another announcement.
Oh, yes. Those of you that brought food, you know, cookies on a plate or whatever, did you take those home with you? I can't put all that plastic in the garbage. I even brought a garbage bag to put it in, but if you take it, then I don't have to do it. And take it home and wash it off and put it in recycling. But it would help, seriously, if you took home what you brought, if there's any left over. Of course, the ones that have the chili, you won't forget your
Yeah. And thank you to everybody who contributed to the potluck tonight. Looks like there's tons of soups and chilies and goodies, and we're all benefiting from that, so we appreciate it. We are going to turn the time over to Lester now, but before we do, I'm going to do the final big deal door prize, and then at the end we will be giving away the poinsettias as well. So I need one ticket. He says it's not a big deal prize, but it really is.
Okay, we've got 917.
917. You win a framed painting of Lester Lee's. You get one ticket. All right, let's well, I gotta switch over the camera and stuff anyway. So. Okay, we're gonna have about a 3-minute break where we switch over the technology. So get some more food and get comfy. So let's mic it up because then you can kind of, you know.
I imagine there's 10 or 12 that will be coming up.
We just have to turn that on. Yes, it's had in your pocket. We gotta find
Is this working?
Okay.
Test, test. Can you hear me okay? Yeah?
I used to.
Do you want me to read? You ready to go? Oh, let's see if we can find
Somebody
it.
needs to change the things out.
Okay, this will work.
Okay, we're gonna get going with Lester's critique. He is kind of soft-spoken, so let's a little bit. Just whisper. Like I tell my kids, use your whisper voice. Use your whisper voice.
All the walls and ceilings are covered with paint.
Thanks for having me. I hope you can hear me okay. Phil, when I gave that frame to Jenny, I didn't realize it had a painting in it, so I'll probably want to have that back before I leave. It's a beautiful frame. I just brought the frame, not just kidding you. It really is a pretty frame. It's worth looking at. So. I appreciate that you might think that I have something interesting to say about your artwork. I'm just one man, and you know that art's very subjective, and everybody's judgments are different. But I'd preface what I'm going to say by telling you that I had plenty of, and I told you this before, I had plenty of college art courses, all the way from junior college up through my master's degree, where my art professors told me my painting needed to be different, but they couldn't tell me how. And so I determined that I was going to figure out the science to composition. So I hope that I have studied that over a period of years. Composition to me means filling up all four corners of the space, and so if there's something that comes up that doesn't fill up four corners of the space, sometimes that can be considered illustration, or sometimes it can be considered just decoration art. And so don't be offended if that's the case, because decoration art can also have really, really good technique, even though it doesn't fill each corner. So I'd like to give each person a chance to tell us about the piece. And so who did this one? Would you just stand up and loudly tell us your feelings on this?
The feelings of how I think it looks or why I did it.
Why? We want to know.
Why?
Yeah.
I really like the landscape of Arches National Park, which is the background, but I felt it needed something more interesting, and I love ravens, so I put them together. Okay?
I love ravens too. I think they're one of the smartest birds on the planet. I remember Andrew Wyatt suggesting that you can kill any bird on earth, but don't kill a crow, because they're so smart. Well, first and foremost, this is really striking. It's striking and it's dramatic. The drama comes anytime you put an angle in the picture. So we have a lot of verticals and we have a few horizontals, but there's the drama right there, and it really catches your eye. The other reason it catches your eye, in my opinion, these are all my opinion, is because it has a bluish tone to it against a really bright orange, and that's striking. There's vibration that happens there that's just lovely. Anytime that you can put complementary colors together, it's really dynamic. But it's obvious that you really wanted us to look here, but it's interesting that you also hit it a little bit. It's sort of the same value that's down in there. And so the first glance, at first glance you see, in my opinion, you see the landscape. And then you see the big crow, and that's really your focal area. So this is dominant. This is what Oswald Allred would say is the dominant area, and this is your focal point. And there's a difference. What's dominant, what's focal. It's also nice that you designed in threes. Threes always work. I don't know why. It's been a mystery for me, and I've loved the number 3, and I design in threes all the time. And it's just a lovely thing. So I don't see anything critical that I would do to it, quite honestly. It is, the wings of the bird are a little bit close to the perimeter, and it causes just a little bit of angst right there where the wings almost touch the edges, and so next time just bring your focal area in a little bit. Hey.
Which one do you want?
Doesn't matter. Take that off the clipboard so we don't have to see the clip. Who did this one?
I did over here.
Please tell us about it. It's very interesting.
It's just from a photograph I took outside of Snyderville, south of Park City. It's a chilly day, and I paint cold. It's not done on site, so there's some modifications of color. I like the sky.
Quite honestly, the energy in that is just amazing. It just bursts with energy. But anytime you have texture, you get energy. But just like the crow, can you see the diagonals that he has in there? And those diagonals create an unrest. And we really get a lot of energy from that. And I love it. It reminds me of a Turner. Anybody studied art history enough to know who Turner is? It has the same sort of colors, except it's a little crisper than Turners, which are more swirly and soft. But at any rate, there's a nice opening down here. The eye, pleasantly, the eye will go in here, and there's a nice focal point here. We're not really sure what it is, and we don't care. It's just something to look at, and it really takes us there. These 2 lines right here are very strong to the point of being almost too strong, and if you don't feel like you're finished with it, you could scrub out an area here or here so that those lines aren't so cutting. It's just a thought.
No, I can see that.
Again, a complementary color scheme. It's really exciting to look at. I'd like to see that painted 9 feet by 9 feet.
Okay, you supply the paint.
Can you imagine walking into a room and seeing that large? How interesting that would be. And you could paint it with house rollers. Go ahead. Somebody's baby pug? Somebody tell us what this is. What's going on here? Go ahead.
It's a pug belongs to a friend of my daughter's, and she had me paint her other pug for a wedding gift when her friend got married, and then they asked me to do their second dog. So I was trying to stay in the same color scheme as the first painting that I did, and then also keep it soft because that was kind of the mood of the photograph that I was working on. Yeah, Julie.
This is really cool. I have done some recent scientific studies and read a bunch of things about how the female eye sees things differently than male eye. And what I've really found is that the senses, the female senses are heightened in almost every, in fact, in every case. Taste, hear, smell, touch, etc. And I'm really jealous of you because when I'm a realist and I'm a left-brain realist, and it just drives me nuts because I really want to be more like you. I want to see a little black pug and paint it blue. And I have to force myself to do that, but it probably comes quite natural to you.
Not at all. I'm
Not
a
at all?
scientist, and I work really hard at taking in all that I'm learning about how to relax and how to be looser and softer and not use my scientific brain so much.
Julie's got a science brain.
Anyway, whether she did this on purpose or not, it's pretty cool. The old style of radial balance is called crystallographic balance, and if you know what I'm talking about, it means that the eye movement of these lines, which go to the pug, the face of the pug, is also reflected in what she's done here and here. Did you do that on purpose?
I tried, yeah.
Tried. So what she has is a radial or an explosion or a starburst of energy that comes out right from the face of the pug. And Eldine Trueblood has often told me, and I'm not sure if she's still alive. Does anybody know if Eldine Trueblood is still living?
She is.
She is.
Yeah, she's still.
Oh, what a great woman. And she's got to be in the 90s. Is she late 80s or?
Late 80s.
She still lives in St. George? Yeah. You came all the way from St. George?
To see you.
No, Julie's my friend.
I will pay you later. A lovely piece of artwork, and split complementary, which just means instead of using direct oranges, and those might be actually oranges, she's got yellows. And so blue and yellow being the prominent colors, which is really fun to look at. Anyway, it's not dead in the center, and that's really cool. You've done a really good job on that. Did they like it?
It's a Christmas present, so I have something.
Is that an acrylic? I want somebody to tell me that's an acrylic.
Yes.
Really? I am impressed. You could fool just about any oil painter.
That's the plan, huh, Jim?
Painting with acrylic that loose, it means that you paint rapidly, and you can probably, alla prima, you can probably sit down and paint one of these probably within an hour. Am I right? To get those edges so soft like that, I mean.
You work at it.
You did. You want to tell us about it?
That's a plein air piece,
Ah, you did paint it quickly.
and it is painted at Germania Park, which is Jordan River Parkway, which is just north of 5300 South. And that green part is a soccer field, and the two trees, that's looking kind of northeast across the soccer field, and I left out the overhead power line.
I'm interested, what attracts you to acrylic when you paint so clean? I mean, you just paint like an oil painter.
I started with watercolor, and I realized myself, I think watercolor is the hardest medium there is. And oils are messy and it takes a long time to dry. So I tried acrylics, and I paint with John Hughes, and I paint with Tom Howard a lot. Utah plein air painters. So, and I took a lot of ribbing when I first started painting those guys, because they're all oil painters. And it just fit for me. But in order to paint with those people, I had to make my acrylics look like oil. And Al Rounds helped me a lot a few years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I saw you about earlier in the summer, and when I found out you were going to be here tonight, I thought, I've got to bring something. I want to know what he thinks. Seriously.
I want to know if it's for sale.
It'll be in Midway this weekend.
Your design is really quite spectacular. It's fun that you, I don't know if you can see this like I can, but you have an arrow here that takes you that direction. And then you have an arrow back here that does the very same thing, and so they're crossing paths, which is really neat. And you have a really nice design of threes, and I bring up threes all the time, and I love it. You have a 1, 2, and a grouping of 3 over here that becomes 1, which is really nice. I don't honestly see anything that I would do differently to that. It's hard with acrylics, but I probably would have tried to put a little bit more atmosphere in those back mountains. And that's about all I would have done, just to really send them off into the distance. Your colors are really, really beautiful. Try to avoid putting the line right to the corner. It's just a thought. You could have angled that or brought that up and broke it up just a little bit, but I wouldn't touch it now. But putting anything right to the corner is a little bit hard on the eye. Congratulations, you're a good acrylic painter. Am I spending too much time on these? We'll hurry a little bit. Okay, we're going to have to go a little faster. Tell us about this.
That's just, that's out of my imagination. I was wanting to learn how to use flat brushes, and so I just picked up some flat brushes and started to work, and that's what came out a few minutes later.
Well, congratulations. You can sit down and make something up like that. That's really remarkable. You have a good style. Your tree is really exceptionally well done. I'd like to have seen it balanced out over here with something else that was breaking through the horizon there, or breaking the point of the mountain range, just for balance. It seems a little bit unbalanced. But your colors are incredibly bright. And the softness that you got right in here, I'd like to have watched you done that, because I think that would have been fun to see. Congratulations on your sky. That's an all-round sky that can't be beat. That's a tough thing to do. I'd like to have watched you do that too, because I'm sure you had it up and moving, and yeah. You can have that. You'll have to get your. So this could really be classified as a portrait, but because there's other elements to the piece, it really comes together as a piece of fine art, and it's in a good position too. So whose is this? Tell us about it. Go ahead.
I have a 40-year-old son who's a rock star, and I went to his concert recently and took a picture of him, and I thought I would paint it for him.
I would really like to see that in a frame, because all by itself it seems kind of lonely, but it's so well painted. You have a great grasp of wet and wet, and it's mixed media. What else did you use in it?
There's some Prisma pencils, a little bit, and a little bit of white gouache, and it's brush show. It's not watercolor, it's brush show.
All of it?
It's mostly all brush show.
Some of us don't know what that is.
It's like anthrax.
It's a water
It's
medium.
a on something and it never goes away.
It's a powder that you mix and use for pouring. It's an ink, so it's like a stain, like you know, your clothes powder. It's in powder. It's very staining. You can't lift it at all. Yeah.
You have very limited contrast, which is really okay, but if you could put some really strong contrasts in there, you get, I think he would take a second look at it at that point, because the power behind contrast is really amazing. So at the risk of, I probably shouldn't go here, but this is a very feminine painting, and that's a good thing because you are feminine. But a higher contrast would really punch a rock star out.
So where would you put the contrast? In the guitar?
You can look backwards, add to the pictures that you used, and you might find that it's darker back here. You really want him to come forward. strong, very powerfully. My goodness, this is just unbelievably beautiful, and you're getting these really subtle things over here which are almost impossible to get, and you've done just a really great job at that. And the proportions of the figure are really good, spot on. But a little more contrast next time, but I love that, I really do. Let's go to the next one. Hey, tell us about this. This almost looks like a heart fix.
I'm Suzanne Reynolds. I enjoy creating these places, combining the elements, so I'm not trying to copy particularly what I saw. The water's always an interesting element. I do try to, over on the left-hand side, I tried to squeeze down that stream so we had less interest in there. I can see that on the right-hand side, I should have darkened that so that we weren't losing the focus. Because the eye can travel out quite easily in the water.
It can, but you've solved that with the tree.
Yeah.
It actually just swoops straight up. And then while you're up there, the house catches your attention. So you're actually not, you haven't done anything wrong here, I don't think, in my opinion. Well, I was looking at this earlier, and I talk about contrast all the time, but you might be incredibly surprised, and you can do this on a computer if you have one. Take a picture of it and go to any photo program. You might be really surprised to put a dark roof in that and to see the difference that might come about. Just maybe. Right now, it's just such a soothing, relaxing, going round and round and round kind of painting. You really have a lot of years of experience, I can tell. And you're a good painter. I love the tree. The colors in the tree are it's just not something I can do very easily. Go ahead. Hey, this is this one. Tell us about it.
Okay, this is my daughter's portrait. When she was 20 years old, and then just wear kimono and put a very formal hairstyle. There's a custom in Japan, so she did it, but here in America, it's hard to get nice kimono. So even though she was wearing the usual kimono, I just changed it to the flower, like a printed those kimono. And then she just wanted to have American makeup because she's a half of Japanese and American. But I wanted to do Japanese style, so I changed it to very white Japanese makeup, and also changed it to Japanese style hairstyle too. But she did French style hairstyle on photo, so I just changed it everything from photo. But I just used her face.
And is this a watercolor?
Yes, this is.
Can you even believe that?
Very good.
So were you able to mask the figure and then do the background, or is the background done? Tell us how you did this. I'm interested.
First, I just painted the transparent watercolor background, but then it was not matching with the kimono or everything after I painted or everything. So I changed it to the opaque watercolor for the background. My English was okay.
She's wondering if her English is okay. Yeah, and so is your painting. It's really beautiful. So what you're saying is the background is a little more opaque and done a little more thickly.
Yes, yes.
But this is really incredible to me. The detail. I had a college professor who used to give us two little L-shaped pieces of cardboard, and he'd have us take a newspaper and turn it upside down and find a photograph and then move it around until we found something interesting. And I want to do that with this. I want to find little bits of beauty everywhere that you've worked in here, and in an abstract way. And this is just phenomenal. I can't even believe how much time did this take you?
1 month and a half.
At what, 3 hours at a time, or?
Sometimes I did 12 hours and sometimes I did only 1 hour. Depends on the
Okay,
day.
so easily upward of 300 hours, probably.
Yes, probably.
Can you believe that? And if I can't get a painting done in an hour, I'm getting jittery, so I gotta get it. Congratulations, you've connected your portrait here to the edge nicely, and the color connects it to the background nicely. You should be very proud of your ability to be very tight. It's a nice style. It's not my style, but I love it still. It's fun to look at. So, congratulations. We're probably out of time, aren't we?
No, you've got about 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes. We can do it.
Let's see.
Yeah, tell us about this, please.
It was done in a class, but I didn't finish it in the class, and I didn't like a lot of the things that was in it, and so I changed the background altogether. And where that finger points down, I thought, "Yeah, that's got to be my nemesis right there." Rather than it looking like a petal, no matter what I did to it, it still looked like a finger, so I put my signature right underneath it. You got to use things like that to your benefit, don't you?
To me, this is a very exciting piece of artwork to look at. It's just dynamic. And I say that with some enthusiasm because in the same amount of enthusiasm, I'm going to tell you that matte frame really stinks. It probably matches your home really nicely, but if that
Not necessarily.
if that had a 4-inch white mat on it and a very simple frame, that piece would just knock you over. It would be stunning. As it is, it's very pretty, but your mat is competing. So you got to be careful of that kind of thing.
I appreciate that.
But your vibrant colors and your decision to go very vertical, the energy in this is really amazing. To this point, this is my favorite piece to look at tonight. I just think it's got some of the most interesting negative shapes up in here. And I'd like to have seen just a touch more open space down here. You did repeat your blues a little bit, but I'd like to have seen just a touch more of that. Can you see it in your head? Can you see this nice flat blue down in here somewhere in one spot or two, and what difference that might have made?
More like what's on the other side.
This very same blue.
Yeah, I saved it.
In a couple of little flat spaces down here. Two spaces down here would be really nice, but my goodness, that's pretty. That right there, I'd like to see that just all by itself. So thank you. Good job.
What does it remind you of? It reminds me of Phyllis Diller. Yeah, I guess, yeah, we'll name it Phyllis.
Who did this one? Tell us.
This was done on plein air and over a couple of different sessions. And yeah, I just enjoyed the experience of being outdoors and painting it. It's not one of my favorite paintings that I've ever done, but I'm interested in what you would say.
Here's something for you to look forward to when Al Rounds comes. I actually called Al Rounds on the phone when I first came to the Salt Lake Valley, and that was easily 35 years ago, and he invited me to his home. And he's a very generous, genuine, gracious man. And what Al Rounds doesn't know that I know about him is that he has a trick that he puts into most of his paintings, and that is one-point perspective. And it's very rare to see an Al Rounds that doesn't have a road, pathway, a river, and it's really ingenious. It's really amazing. Well, that's just what you've done here. And so you sat in a spot where you could purposefully get that one-point perspective in there. And this might be the best composition of the night. The The last one had some of the best energy and color. This little piece of the garden is so well placed. You have a really good eye. Some people would call that the law of thirds. I would call it the law of the golden division, and that takes us right to these two pots. And two is really hard to design with, and you've done a great job. You broke that rule. You did a good job. And it's really fun to look at because there's a lot of texture to it, but you're drawn into it and you're not sure why. Well, it's the one-point perspective. And then you can see the little treasures at the end, those two little red pots. And the only thing that I would have done different to this, had I been sitting there and thought about it, because sometimes I don't think about it, is I would have put a little more blue in the background. And maybe even, I know that it's finished, but if you ever paint this again, try to make the background really Monet-like, just soft, just gone away. And that would leave us all with the beautiful texture you have. It's just really a nice painting. You've done such a good job. Let's have another one. Tell us.
I'm speaking for my wife because she's got her hearing aids and doesn't feel well. But that was done from a photograph we took at Yosemite several years ago. And it brings back some really fond memories.
What I think is striking about this picture is that first and foremost, vertical paintings are fiendishly hard to design. They're very difficult. They sort of belong to the poster industry, the graphic design industry, because they read as a poster, but you've done such a good job here. The vertical aspects of it come with the falls and with the trees down at the bottom, and it's unmistakably just reaching towards heaven. They can't help itself. It's the reason they put steeples on churches and cathedrals, is because it's, and sometimes these rocks are actually have names that are called cathedral. I'm sure there's one in Zions National Park, isn't there? Yeah. And it's because they're so lifting, they're so secure, they're so tall. And so immediately you get this feeling out of it, and you should be proud of it, and it probably really is uplifting to you as you walk by it every day. It's not a bad design at all. It's really split in a good place. You have a big space up here, which is smaller than the space down here. You have a repetition of the two falls. It's well balanced. It's just a nice piece of art. I probably would have made those upper falls just pure white. It's a mistake that almost every artist, watercolor artist makes, and that is the minute they see a little bit of color in something, they overdo it. They put too much color. And the things that are very pale ought to be left white. It's just my opinion. But if you're going to be a watercolorist, learn to leave those whites. So.
I think we're maybe one more.
One more.
And then there's like 7 left, so maybe 6. Do you want to do it outside of the hall?
We could go out in the hall. You still have some things to do. Who did this one? Is this water-based? This is really neat.
It's acrylic, yeah.
Wow.
And I got the texture by using, just the bathroom caulking. I figured it was water soluble too.
It's basically a relief sculpture, and you really need to look at it in order to understand it. It's really fun to look at. First thing I wanted to do was take a brayer and roll ink over the top of it and run it through a press and print it. They do that with dead fish. Have you ever seen that done? Yeah. Or anything that's got texture you can roll ink on and print. That's really what I wanted to do here. But it's a nice composition. It's very flat, and that's probably what your intentions were. The mountain seems as close as the bushes because the values are the same. And do you understand what I'm saying when I say that?
Yeah.
But if you look at it up close, you really get enough texture here that it takes the mountain backwards a little bit. So That's really a fun thing to do, and you should keep doing it. I think it's pretty neat.
Okay, I will. Okay. It was an experiment and I liked it, so.
I'm sorry I get to talking and then I can't.
We've got 6 paintings left, but we're out of time on doing the critique in here. So those 6 of you, you know who you are if you haven't had your painting done. If you want to step out in the hall here, Lester will finish giving you his feedback on your paintings. And we're going to turn, we have about a 3-minute transition. We're going to turn 20 minutes over to Keith from Master Lab. And then we're going to do our final 8 ticket drawings for the poinsettias, and we'll pull the names for the mystery boxes. So if you want to enter for mystery boxes, if you want to buy raffles back there, now's the time to do it. You've got 3 minutes for transition. And if you had your painting critique, please come collect it up here. You should enter it in the screen. Enter it in the screen. Yeah, it's coming out. It has an open You should enter that. I'll grab the mic. Oh, Okay, we've got about 90 seconds, and we have another raffle prize that another big raffle prize we're gonna give out at the end, or door prize. We'll just do it. Just pull out 8 tickets. Let's just pull out 8. No, Okay, everybody, we're gonna get going on our second part of our meeting. I've got eight door prize tickets, red tickets. If you haven't won anything yet, listen up. If your number is called, you can take a poinsettia home with you. Okay? All right. 270-937. 937. Grab a poinsettia. 962. Just went off of any of the tables. 962. Grab a poinsettia. 971. 971. Let's see. No, that's not mine. 943. 943. 920. Grab a poinsettia. 920. 938. Okay. 954. Grab. So take a poinsettia. And 980. There were 8 poinsettias, and that was 8 numbers. 980 is the final one. All right. I'm going to turn the time over to Heath from Master Lab. He's got about 20 minutes. He's going to talk to you about some framing, G-plays, prints, and he's got some interesting info. And he's given us a very nice final big deal door prize. So hang around.
So as Jenny mentioned, my name is Heath Brown. I'm the owner and operator of Master Lab. And what Master Lab is it's a company, and we offer fine art reproduction, G-clay printing, digital press printing, and framing. So tonight we're going to mostly talk about framing, but we'll touch on those other 3 areas as well. If you have any questions, please raise your hand, let me know, and we'll try to get all those answered for you, okay? For those of you who had a chance to take a look at this, speaking of Al Rounds, is this an original or a copy?
I'm guessing it's a G-clay.
You'll bet it's a copy?
Just
okay.
because it's but it looks like an original.
All right, it is a copy. So my grandpa commissioned Al Rounds to paint this picture of where he grew up. And my grandpa passed away, we finally got my uncle to let us copy it so that we all could have a print. Okay, so this is a reproduction that we did of a painting by Al Rounds. So now everyone in the family can have a copy of it. So now you guys have painted your paintings. So now what do you do with them?
We take them to Heath Brown.
Thank you. So what we can do at Master Lab is we can take a picture of those paintings, and then what we do is we color match the file that we create to your original and then output prints for you. So we can print on watercolor paper just like you're painting on, so that the prints that you guys get, whether you need them for family, to sell, or whatever, they're going to look exactly like your originals, okay? Which is what happened here. Now when we talk, we're going to start with framing and then we'll work our way backwards, okay? So as you look at this piece, and as we looked at a few of the pieces that were shown tonight, the most important thing to do when you're framing is to frame to the piece. Okay, you never want to frame to the room or to furniture or to where it's going. You always want to frame to your piece of artwork. Okay? Because the idea of framing is to enhance your piece. And the idea of framing your piece is so that when someone looks at the piece, it's got a border that's going to draw your eye into the piece. Okay? So you want to be able to see, once it's framed up, you want to be able to see your piece first and then the framing. If it's the opposite, then it's not correctly framed. Now based on those rules, then it's just opinion. Okay, so I'm just going to share with you a few of the options that you have when you go out and get your piece framed. First of all, let's talk about mats and mounting. Okay? How should your piece be mounted? Does anybody know?
Watercolor behind a mat.
That kind of mountain?
No, just behind it.
Floating.
Archival how?
Well, the back board should be archival, and I don't know if the brown paper is supposed to be the sealer.
Acid free.
So whatever is going to touch your piece of artwork should be archival. So if you have your artwork mounted, the foam board or whatever it's being mounted to needs to be archival. Or if you're not going to mount it and you're just going to use a backer board, make sure that whatever is touching your piece of artwork is archival. Meaning that it's acid free and that it's not going to cause any damage to your original. Okay? So now that we've got the backer board and the mounting, we're going to mat it, right? Or maybe we're not going to mat it. So there's a lot of different ways to take a watercolor piece and to frame it up, okay? This piece here, which is a G-clay print, but still represents a watercolor print. The print has been mounted and then it's been double matted. So the mats you're going to use again, your mats are going to touch your original or they're going to touch your reproduction, right? So your mats need to be the same thing. They need to be archival. They need to be acid-free mats. And they need to at least be at a minimum white core mats, okay? If the core of the mat is not white, don't use it, okay? Because that core is going to yellow, and then it's also may affect your original or reproduction that you've got below those mats, okay?
What about black core mats?
Black core is fine as long as it's archival. Okay. So, like this mat here is not white core, but it's solid core, because it's the color that goes all the way through. So black core, or any of those that are going to stay archival all the way through, that's what matters most, okay? But never use a mat that's not a white core. The amount of money that you're going to save between those cheaper mats and at least a white core mat, it's very minimal. So spend the extra money and mat it correctly, okay? So just a couple options as far as matting your print. You can go over the top, which this one is, right? You can put the mats over the top so that the edge is all clean. You also can take your original and or your reproduction. Your originals normally have deckled edges. You can take a reproduction, have a deckled edge put on it. You can then mount that to a mat and then put another mat over so you see that deckled edge, okay? There's also options as far as raising up your print. So you can mount that to a mount board that's smaller than your print, so your print is raised up, and then add mats to that. So lots of different options about how to put mats around your watercolor. All right, next, let's talk about glass. Why is glass so important?
Protection.
Because your watercolor will fade if you don't use the museum glass or the treated glass.
Okay, so we've got 4 types of glass, mainly, that are used. Number 1 is just your basic standard glass. Now, this piece has basic standard glass on it. Now, there's probably 50 different kinds of basic standard glass. You just want to make sure that if you're just going to use standard glass, which is not bad, make sure that it at least has some UV inhibitors in it. Okay? And what that's going to do is going to protect your piece from harsh lighting, whether it's sunlight directly on your piece, or whether it's harsh fluorescent lights. It'll help protect that with those UV inhibitors, okay? The second type of glass, and all these types of glass have different kind of levels as well, okay? Then you have your next level is going to be your AR glass, okay? And that is, AR stands for anti-reflective. So what that's going to do is it's going to add even more UV inhibitors, but it's also going to cut out the glare that you see on, when light hits normal glass, okay? It's going to cut out that glare. AR glass is great, okay? It's got more UV inhibitors, it cuts out that glare, but it's really expensive. So AR glass is about 3 times the cost of normal glass. So you just need to kind of judge where the piece is going to go, where it's going to be hung, whether you need to go that extra expense. The next type of glass is museum glass, which is the ultimate, okay? And that's going to be about 5 times the cost of normal glass, okay? I tell most of my customers that it's not worth the cost. The difference between AR and museum, in my opinion, is small enough that it's not worth that extra expense. The fourth kind of glass, which I would never recommend either, is non-glare glass, okay? Non-glare glass, and I've got this sample here you can come up after that'll show you normal glass, AR glass, and non-glare glass. Non-glare glass is going to make your piece appear fuzzy. You're going to lose the depth that you have with your piece if you put non-glare on. So if you don't want that glare, make sure and use AR glass. If you're not so much worried about that, the glare, go ahead with normal glass and just make sure that it has those UV inhibitors in it. Okay? All right. So we've talked about mounting, we've talked about mats, glass. Let's talk about frames for a minute. So there's lots of different frames out there. Really, when it comes down to framing, you want to frame the piece. Again, here it is opinion, but again, we'll go back to talking about how we want it to enhance the piece, okay? So a frame is going to be made of normally 4 different things. It's going to be made of wood. It's going to be made of MDF board. It's going to be made of polyurethane. And then the last type is more like a particle board type frame, okay? The biggest thing when it comes to framing is the corners, okay? You can use any type of frame as long as the corners are done well. That's really all that matters. Because once it's hung, you're not going to know whether it's a poly frame or a wood frame or an MDF frame. I wouldn't suggest the particle board frames. They do fall apart quickly. But it's all about the corners. So when you're framing, just make sure whoever you're using for framing is giving you good corners, okay? Because that's where you're going to tell the difference between a well-framed piece and a piece that hasn't been well-framed, okay? Are those corners. So just make sure and watch out for those corners. Now, why do we put paper on the back? Okay, so yeah, it's just a dust cover. That's all it does. It just keeps out dirt, grime, dust. I mean, you guys know that a picture that's been hanging on the wall for a long time, you take that off the wall and there's dust and dirt and spider webs and all that type of stuff. So it's just another protection to help protect the piece, okay? And then as far as the hanging that goes on the back of the piece, whatever you like the most. Most people, when they're hanging artwork, they'll use wires. There's a couple different ways you can use these V-ring hooks. There's also other hooks that you can make the wire tighter so that the picture doesn't lean this far away from the wall. So just options there. Most of the time when you go to a frame mill, they'll wire it and frame it how they see fit. So, yes?
One more question regarding the papers on the back. You know, most framers, they use more of the craft paper. But if you use a black paper, I'm wondering long term, does it discolor the paint on the wall at all black? Does it have any effect long term?
No, because actually the paper should never be touching the wall.
Yeah, but on the corners of mine, you know.
Well, so all framing should come with bumpers, okay? So that it's keeping the piece away from the wall. Because yeah, some pieces, like we like using black paper just because it looks nice and professional. But you sit there and rub it enough with your hand, you're going to get a little black on it. But that's, yeah, every frame piece should have bumpers that don't stick to the wall. That's also important, because I don't know if any of you have had something that's been on the wall for a long time and all of a sudden the bumper doesn't come off and it rips off the paint. So make sure they're good bumpers. But yeah, the piece should never actually be touching the wall. Yes?
Am I mistaken? Do you offer a discount to Watercolor Society members?
You know, I checked the other day, and I'm not on that list for some reason. I thought I was, but I will be soon. I thought I had done what I needed to get on that list, but we'll we'll get that rectified. So definitely, yeah. And tonight I've also, at the end, I've got some packets to hand out to you that has some price lists, my contact information. There is a coupon in there as well to 50% off getting a reproduction done of your original, that type of thing. So yeah, we definitely want to help out members of Utah Watercolor Society. Any other questions about framing?
Oh, and I just wondered, what's your timeline like, usually like Sergi clay or?
So when we get a piece in, it's normally about 3 to 5 working days for a proof. And we provide you with a proof on the actual watercolor paper that your prints are going to be printed on. Once you've okayed that proof, then we're about 3 to 5 working days for prints. And that just all depends on how many you want to do and the sizes and that type of thing. So normally 2 weeks or less to go from shooting it to having prints in your hand. Yeah?
Are those prints then inkjet?
So let's talk about prints real quick. So what is a G-clay print? Does anyone know what that word means?
Sure. It's a French word.
It is.
Pronounced giclée.
Thank you. And what does it mean?
It means many droplets. They're like little mini droplets of color
Okay.
in the water.
I've heard that definition. I've also heard it means squirting ink. Right? So it's just a fancy word to say an inkjet print. But what it's come to be is it's not just any inkjet print. It needs to be an archival inkjet print. So what makes up an archival inkjet print? It's going to be your paper and it's going to be the ink. So it's that combination that creates a G-clay print. So you can have a G-clay print on canvas, you can have a G-clay print on art paper, you can have a G-clay print on luster paper or gloss paper. A G-clay print just indicates that the process that has been used to make that print is using everything that's archival. So all the papers that we use in combinations with the inks that we use are all rated at 150 plus years under normal lighting conditions. So they'll be good to go until we're all long gone and then it won't matter. So, yeah?
Those prints, I'm assuming you're using a CMYK ink for, those 4 inks.
It is a combination of CMYK, but our printers actually use 8 to 11 inks. So we use CMYK, and then there's several other blacks. There's a light magenta, a light cyan, and then on our newer printers, there's actually an orange and a green. So what that allows us to do, instead of having to just go with those 4 colors, by having 8 to 11 colors, it allows us to take the color gamut and make it much, much bigger. So in essence, some of the pieces that we saw up here today, especially this piece, can I hold this up real quick?
Oh, please.
Okay, so we saw this piece tonight, right? So how many different oranges and rusts and reds does she have in this piece? Is it just 1 or 2? No, it's probably, it could be 7, 10, that type of thing. So what a larger color gamut allows you to do is to capture all the variations that you guys have in your artwork. So it's important that when you're doing G-clay prints, that you make sure that whoever's doing those prints are using printers that have a wide enough color gamut to capture everything that you've created in your painting. Yeah?
So then the individual droplets of ink, you're not so much depending on dot gain to get the density. It's more about the numbers. The number of droplets per square, whatever space you're using, right?
Exactly.
So you're doing the stochastic stream rather than a rosette.
Yes. Yeah. So it's the color gamut, and then it's the amount of dots that we can get down in a certain amount of space.
But you're a master of that too, and it's also the photography. You capture the photography at the best that you can do, and you shoot.
You've been great. You just transitioned me from one thing to the next. So quickly, let's talk about capture, okay? So when we take a picture of artwork, we're creating information, right? So it's important that when you have your artwork copied, that you're creating enough initial information that you can be able to, number one, get it color corrected correctly. And the reason that's important is because the camera is not going to see your piece of artwork how it really is. I have never, in all the art that we've copied, I have never been able to just take what the camera sees and call it good. I have to take that file and manipulate that file to make it look like the original every single time. The camera is just not going to see what our eye's going to see, it's not going to see what our monitor shows, and it's not going to see what's coming off the printer. So that's number one. We just need a big enough file so that we have enough information so that we can go in and make sure that we're getting exactly all those oranges, reds, whatever your painting may have in it, okay? Number two, we need more information in that file because sometimes we have a painting that's this big, but we want to go this big, right? So the more information we can start with, the bigger we can go with that painting. Okay? So those two things are important. So that initial file that gets created needs to have enough information to do those two things. Okay? So the painting gets shot. At Master Lab we use a high-res digital camera. It's a 30 megapixel camera, so it's taking a huge file of the artwork that we shoot. From that file, then we have plenty of information that we can go bigger. We also have plenty of information that we can go in and specifically grab areas and do what we need to do in order to have that file match the original. Okay? So for example, if we look at all the greens that are in this painting, okay? So those greens didn't all just come out exactly like they should have out of the camera. So we had to go in and manipulate the file saying, I want these greens to be this, I want these greens to be this, okay? Because this green is not the same as this green, is not the same as this green. And you guys know that, right? There's not just one green. So it's that process of, number one, creating a file from the beginning that has enough information and the correct information. Number two, the ability to manipulate that file to have it come out looking like your original. And the third thing, and this is just as important as the other two, is that no matter how good my monitor is and no matter how dialed in I get my monitor to the printer, what comes off the printer is going to look different than the monitor. And why is that? Does anybody know?
Because you haven't calibrated the monitor correctly?
No, I've calibrated it. Well, I think I have. Why is that? How many colors are you seeing on that monitor? Millions. Okay? So the monitor's color gamut's this, and even with our 8 to 11 ink printers, the color gamut's this. Printers have not caught up to where monitors are, okay? So that's the third step in the process, is that once I think that file's there, then we're going to send it to the printer. Okay? The printer's going to output me a proof on the watercolor paper, and I'm going to take your original, I'm going to take that proof, and I'm going to look. And I'm going to say, do these match? Okay? Never has that ever happened where I've corrected it all on the monitor and the print came off the printer and it matched the original exactly. And it's for that reason, that there's just so many colors on that monitor, but yet I've got to take those and squish those into what the printer can handle. So then we go in again and we correct the file so that when it comes off the printer, now you have prints that represent what your original is. Okay? So we have the process. We copy your artwork, we color correct it, make sure it matches your original. We now know that that file coming off the printer is going to be a good print. Then we can take that print and or the original and we can frame up your piece, or you can get your piece framed up. So that's the process. Of being able to take your artwork that you guys create and being able to share it with others, whether they're buying it from you or whether you're giving it away. And last but not necessarily least, lots of my artists like to, do we recognize that one? This is one of my favorites by Gene Platt, by the way. Anyway, cards. We do offer that as well. We've got that file, we might as well use it for other things, right? So a lot of my artists like to do cards. So we offer that. That's when I mentioned digital press printing, another option you can do, you can make cards. Any type, size. Anyway, lots of options. You're welcome to come and take a look at these.
Just a rough idea, what do your cards cost to print? That's just that kind of a greeting card?
So, just for example, let's say you printed 500 cards. Let's say you had 10 images and you printed 50 of each. For that card, which is a 5x7 folding one-sided, meaning that we print on the front and we print on the back with the inside blank, it would be 70 cents a piece. And that includes the design and the layout of the card. All right, I'm past time. Any questions about, we've talked about a ton tonight. Like I said, in these packets, I've got information. You can contact me. Even if you don't want to use me, that's fine. But if you have a question, don't hesitate to call me. I'd be glad to answer it for you. I'd be glad to help you out. Because in the end, I want to make sure that you guys have good reproduction, good prints, and good framing. Thank you for your time.